food for the food bank of the church, but more important to me, my good friend Tom Pauken. I know Tom for what? How many years? 30? Yeah, long time ago. I used to be district attorney here in McLean County. Now my son Abel is the district attorney. But when I was district attorney here in McLean County, Tom was here, lived here in Waco. And then went on to Dallas. Former state chairman of the Republican Party. Former chairman of the Texas Workforce Commission. Did a hell of a good job. Then resigned to run for governor. And I am endorsing Tom Pauken. He's a good Christian. He is a good father. His wife is Hispanic. She makes mean tamales. They're good, faithful Catholics, and they raised about what, 12, 15 kids?
7 kids.
7 kids. 14 grandkids. He's way ahead of me. So now let's hear from Tom.
Thank you, man. Happy birthday, Felipe.
Yeah, happy birthday.
The speakers.
Happy birthday.
Can you turn the speakers down? The music? Can you turn the music off?
Jimmy Carr had to go a little earlier, but I really appreciate him hosting this effort as well, and his leadership and willingness to go for what they call the underdog or the long shot. Greg Jones is here. Greg is a stalwart conservative and a warrior, and quite frankly, we need more warriors in our party to take on the left. I'm tired of us always reacting, always on the defensive. And we got to get back, really, rebuild the grassroots conservative movement, bring the party together, start talking about sound ideas, sound policies based on our conservative principles, and reach out to those who ought to be with us and build, if you will, a new conservative majority. Felipe and I have known each other a long time, but those of you who don't know me, brief history, a native Texan, grew up in the Dallas area, don't hold that against me. Then went on to Georgetown University, where I got involved in the Goldwater conservative movement. I thought I was joining the losing side, but I thought it was the right thing to do, because here was a man talking about defeating communism, standing up for conservative principles. We lost that election. I worked in that campaign, but out of that came Ronald Reagan. I later served as national chairman of the College of Republicans and enlisted in the Army. I was an oxymoron, Army intelligence officer in Vietnam. But I got out of politics and married to my wife. We've been married 39 years, the former Ida Ayala. But I got angry after I saw the fall of Saigon in 1975, and I thought all that loss of life and all that effort and that kind of outcome, and the Washington policymakers made such a difference. I got back involved. I was very fortunate to be part of the Reagan Revolution and go to Washington as a group of outsiders with President Reagan to drain the swamps, as he put it. And we did a pretty doggone good job of it in the first term. Came back to Texas. Was here in Waco for a while with the radio station, and then moved on to Dallas, joined a venture capital firm, and got frustrated at the Republican Party, even in Texas. We were the minority party at the time, but too much of a top-down leadership structure run by these political consultants, and I thought we needed to go back to a volunteer-driven, grassroots-up party that spoke for and represented the forgotten Americans, the middle-class taxpayers who don't have lobbyists in Washington and aren't looking for special favors. In that election, I was heavily outspent. I was the underdog, but I was elected. We grew from a minority party to a majority party. A good while I got out of politics till the governor asked me to come back in and chair the Texas Workforce Commission. And at that time, when I came back in 2008, I thought, it's a mess in Washington. Everything's great in Austin. I found really there were a lot of issues we weren't addressing, particularly the neglect of vocational education. I've been on the National Advisory Council on Vocational Education, and I remember a time when there was a respect for vocational education and a recognition kids have different talents and interests, and And I thought to myself, today we've got this sort of elitist mindset that everybody's going to go to a university, and the neglect almost of the integration of vocational and technical education. As I went around the state of Texas talking to employers, educators, and parents, young people, they were bemoaning the fact that you had a shortage of skilled workers and an incredible demand for skilled workers, and almost the choking off of the pipeline of skilled workers by the neglect of vocational education. I began to work with the coalition. And in fact, you've got a marvelous a group of people here in Waco, Texas. The Texas State Technical College does such a great job in providing skills training for young people. And doggone it, they get great paying jobs. I'll give you an example. A young person with a 2-year associate's degree, engineering related technology from TSTC, can start in instrumentation, can start in the petrochemical industry at $68,000 a year. You got a grain workforce, average age of a welder is 56, of a plumber 56, a welder 55, stonemasonry craftsman 69. So I began to work on putting a coalition together to do something about this, and we were up against powerful elites, a lot of big money, $450 million Pearson contract, teaching to the test, the TOS, the TOTS, the STAR, all this crazy business that wasn't about local control of education, wasn't about recognizing the kids have different talents and interests, but we beat the big guys. And we got legislation passed, HB 5, this legislative session. But there are other issues that have got to be addressed, and I'm concerned that we've just got too much of this top-down structure in Austin, and we're falling into the trap of the people who write the biggest paychecks to the candidates wind up having the most influence. And as I go around the state of Texas, there are a lot of people that say, who listens to us? And we better start remembering where our roots are. I think back to when I was first involved in the conservative movement, and Barry Goldwater had an expression. He said, our goal as conservatives is not to represent the interests of big business, big labor, or big government. They got plenty of folks taking care of their interests. Our job is to speak for, listen to, and address the concerns of the forgotten Americans and middle-class taxpayers and families. I know that I'm the underdog. I'm not in this lightly. I just think we've got to bust this system. There's too much crony capitalism. There's too much pay-to-play attitude, and it's on both sides of the political aisle. But it isn't going to get America back together. It isn't going to get us back to a situation in which we begin to start reclaiming our country from the left. I'm very frustrated. We always seem to be reacting to the left rather than framing the debate and addressing issues that reach out to the majority of Americans. Just like on this vocational education, as a conservative, I believe in a hand up, not a handout, where we're losing too many kids that wind up dropping out of school because they weren't given an opportunity for skills training in high school. That's just one example of many. Thanks for coming tonight, and it's so great to be part of the birthday celebration for my longtime friend. And I was proud to stand up for Felipe and the power brokers and the Austin lobbyists decided that they didn't like a judge who was independent. And that's got to stop. I mean, we got to respect people that are, willing to stand up. I remember when I came back from Vietnam, I signed my papers to be a civilian. I said I'd choose who and when I salute. And I've done that the rest of my life, and Felipe does that well. There's nothing wrong. We need more independent people. We need more people who can, if you will, address the concerns of the average citizen. Felipe Rainier is one of those men, and I'm very proud to see that the tradition is being carried on by Abel as the very able district attorney here in McLennan County. And we can and we must bring to our party more leadership on the Hispanic front, and we need warriors, people who have that sense of principle, sense of independence, and willingness to do what's right for the people. Let's get our government back under the control of the people, not a small group of elitists and big power folks who think that they can dictate how elections are going to be held and what decisions are going to be made by the folks, whether in Austin or in Washington. Thanks for allowing me to be with you tonight, and I sure need your support. Tom Pauken and ProTexas.com help us win this race and help us allow Texas to lead the nation back onto the right track. Thanks very much.
Tom, here tomorrow morning on the radio.
Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, what's the?
From Warner.
Yeah.
12:30, News Talk 12:30.
12:30. I'll be on 12:30 News Talk.